Daf Pei Amud Aleph will begin Daf Ayin Tes Amud Beis, 3 lines from the bottom. Gufa Hayu Yisrael Masechet Masechet to me. If half the tzibur were Tamei and half were Tor. Halol Oisim La'atzman V'halol Oisim La'atzman. Each group does it separately, independently. The Tairim does it for themselves, and the Tameim they do it for themselves. But if there was even one more Tomei than Tohor, so now you have a majority of Tomei, Yasa Betuma, then they all do it Betuma. Lafi Shein Korban Tzibur Cholik, because we don't make a division, we don't divide the Tzibur with the Korban Tzibur, we don't divide the congregation, and therefore all the Kahal does it together, and even the Tahirim can do it Betuma. Once we say that it's Tuma B'Tzibur, even the Tahirim can mingle with the Tmeim and do it together. Rabbi Elazar ben Masechet, he says, Ein hayachin machri tzibur l'tuma. He says one person cannot tip the scale. Based on a majority of one, you don't tip the scale. Shenemar, the pasuk says, Lo yisucha lizvach es hapasach b'al sharech. You can't do shech the Korban Pesach. So literally means in one of your cities. So that is a nazhara on Abamas Yachid. But he darshans the pasuk Loisucha Lizbach as a pasach be'echad, based on a one. On a majority of one, you can't consider it Tuma B'Tzibur and to do the Korban Pesach B'Tzibur. So you don't do it on a majority of one, you need more than one. Rav Shimon Omer afilu shevet echad tamei. He says even if one shevet is tamei, Ushar kol shvatim tahirim, and the rest are tahirim, halo loisum latzma, halo loisum latzma, they each make it for themselves. My time with the Rav Shimon, because even one shevet is called a kahal because it says goy ukahal goyim iyamimeka. So a shevet is considered to be a kahal. What was going to come from Yaakov Avinu? What was Avtach? That he would have a shevet, and that's called a kahal. So therefore we say that they're not pushed to Pesach Sheni, that each one, only a Yachin is pushed off to Pesach Sheni, and therefore we say in such a case also that each one does it for themselves. That Rabbi Yehuda, he says, he says, not only do they not get pushed off the Pesach Sheni, he says it's as if you have the whole tzibur, the right tzibur that are tamei, and they all do it together. But tuma shein korban tzibur cholik, because he says the korban tzibur is not divided, and therefore since you consider the shevet to be a kahal, therefore you say they're not pushed off the Pesach Sheni, and everybody does it together because ein tzibur korban tzibur cholik. Rabbi Yehuda savar shevet echad ikar. He holds that one shevet is called a kahal, and it's 50-50, ain't korban tzibur cholak, and he holds that a korban tzibur is not cholak, v'avda kula betuma, you can't divide up a tzibur, and therefore they do it all together. Itmar hayusra mechsetar mechset, if it was 50-50, Amar Rav, mitam echad mehem b'sheretz. You don't want to leave it as a situation where it's 50-50. You're matama one person with a sheretz, and now you have a roiv, which are tameim, and they can do it all betuma. That's why you do it in that way, so that's a roiv tzibur which are tamei. Why do we do it that way? Why should we say do it in that way? Why should you do it that way? Just leave it as it is, and each one will do it separately. That halal loisim lasm, it's 50-50, and Rav says what is 50-50, that they both do it, the Tahirim do it for themselves, and the Tameim for themselves, and they don't mingle. We're talking in a case now where actually it wasn't 50-50. There was one more Tomei than Tor, and therefore we say we matama one other person with a share. It's like the Moriach Yahu Tameim v'navda kula betuma. So if you have one more Tomei than Tor, so you have a majority of Tameim. So what's the problem? Let them do it betuma. More answers, like Rabbi Elazar ben Masya, because he holds you cannot be makriya based on a majority of one. Well, if that's the case, so then the kasha comes back. Why have your mitama, additional person, in order to create a rive? Leave it in a situation where it's 50-50, and therefore each one will do it separately. More answers in Echanami. We're not saying that the case is that there's a majority of one who's Tomei. If there's a Tana that holds like the Tana Kama that says that if it's 50-50, they don't all do it together with Tuma. This summer like Rav Yehuda. And he also holds like Rav Yehuda Damar Ein Korban Sibur Choluk, that we don't divide the Tzibur Tzura is not allowed to split and do it separately. There we say Matama Nechan Mehem B'Sheretz. Then we create a majority and we're Matama some with the Sheretz to create a rive so that they can all do it together. But Ula says, no, a different Eitzah. He says, Meshalchan Echad Mehem L'der Chayka. Rather, we sent one of the people on a journey, a far distance. He's not able to do the Pesach Rishon. He's therefore not counted in the Tzibur. And so Taisus explained, we send away one of the Tahirim. We send away one of the Tahirim of the Chayka. And therefore now the majority will be Tmeim. The majority will be Tmeim. And it's the Tzibur will be able to do Betuma. And we send this person away and they're Chayka. So now the Tmeim are majority. Taisus asks, well, why don't we send one of the Tmeim? Why don't we send someone who's Tomei and then have the right Tzibur, which is Tohar? Taisus answers, because we want to create a situation where the Roiv is Tomei so that they can do, the Tmeim can now do Pesach Rishon. If we sent away someone who is one of the Tmeim, then we'll have a situation where the Tahirim are the Roiv, the Miut will have to do Pesach Sheni. And rather, we want a situation where we sent away someone who's Tahor, so that the Roiv, the majority, is Tomei, and that they don't get put, everybody is able to do it now, Pesach Rishon, rather than have a significant part of the Tzibur being pushed off to Pesach Sheni. Why did he say Davka B'derech Chayka? Why not Bimatam Mesheretz? And as the Or Chodesh explains, it's a mila to say Bimatam with the Mesheretz, because then he can do Pesach Rishon. So why does he say Davka that Mishalom B'derech Chayka? The more answers Kasavar Sheikh Tavazarkim Alt Mesheretz, because he holds that Tomei Sheretz is only Tomei for the day. By nighttime he's Torah. So therefore he holds that you can do on his behalf, you can do the shlit and zrika on his behalf. He'll be able to eat the Korban Pesach at night, and therefore he's not considered as part of the Tmeim. It's not going to tip the scale. So nothing will be accomplished. For Gemara, well, still, why send him on a derech chayka? Sheretz is not an option. Be matam b'meis, and tip the balance that way. And therefore, again, he'll be able to partake with the Pesach Rishon. More answer, but you'll cause him to lose out on the Korban Chagiga, and he won't be able to bring the Korban Chagiga. But in your Eitzah, you're sending him far away. He won't be able to do the Korban Pesach. No, Esha Dovid b'Sheni. Yes, he won't be able to do Pesach Rishon, but at least he can do Pesach Sheni. But Mashenki and Chagiga, you're going to cause him to lose it out completely. So, for the Gemara, well, b'meis nami efshar David b'shi, he can do the Korban Chagiga on the seventh day. The Korban Chagiga, there's tashlumin. You can make up, and you can do it on the seventh day. The Havle Shemini Shaloi, it's his 8th day after the Tumah. If you're going to be matame him on Erev Pesach, by the Shvi Shal Pesach, it's his 8th day. It's already after his Tara, 7 days Tara, and he can bring a Korban. And since the Korban Chagiga, that it's Tashlum Kol Shiva, he can bring the Korban Chagiga then. More answers, Kasavra Ula, Kula, Tashluma, Darishan Nino. That there's Tashluma, and that's only a makeup for the first day. The Chalza Barishan, Chalza Bekula. if he's able to do it, he's fit to do it on the first day, then there's tashlumun for the rest of the days. But where he's not fit to do it on the first day, he can't do it on the rest of the days either, so therefore he can't do the chagiga. Amr of Nachman, this is Neitza Zil Amrle go tell Ula man size the Akir Sike of Mashkin Variety. Who's going to listen to us to uproot the pegs of his tent? That used to have the tents when they came to Oil Rail, uproot the pegs of the tent and run away on a distant road. No one is going to listen to that. Itmar Hayarubin Zovian, if a majority of the tzibur is Zovian. Now, we say that Tuma, that is Doich, the Korban Pesach, the Korban Tzibur is Doich Tuma. But that's not the Tuma of a Zovian. So that, therefore, you're not able to do the Korban Pesach if a Roiv of the Tzibur is Zovian. So Hayu Ruban Zovian, if there were Tmeim with the Ziva, there's Zovian, a Miyuta, Tmeim Mesim, and a minority are Tamei with Tumas Meis. Omer Rav says, Oisim Tmeim Mesim, ain't Oisim Levi Rishon Levi Sheni. They can't do the Korban Pesach at all, not the Rishon and not the Sheni. Why is that? Rishon Levi Avdin, Havli Miyuta. They can't do Pesach Rishon because there's only Miyut. They're not the Roiv of the Tzibur, they're only a Miyut. So therefore, they can't do Pesach Rishon. And Miyuta loy avde berishan, and a miyut doesn't do berishan. Now we don't consider it that the Roiv of the Tzibur is Tomei because you can't include the Zovin. They're not able to they don't allow you to bring the Korban Betuma. It's only the Tuma of a Tuma from an external source, not from an internal source, not from Zovin. So therefore the Tumei and Mesim are a minority. You can't do it on Pesach Rishon. And Miyutal of the Rishon and B'Sheni Nami Lo Yavda, they can't do Pesach Sheni either because Kol Heichadav that Tziba Rishon of Yachid B'Sheni. When is there a Pesach Sheni? When the Tzibur does it on Pesach Rishon, is the Tzibur that does it. So the Yechidim get pushed off to Pesach Sheni. So if the Tzibur does it on Pesach Rishon, then the Yechidim are the ones that do it on Sheni. But but over here, if nobody is doing Pesach Rishon, there's no Pesach Sheni. Shmuel says, Zil, La'aba. He said, go tell Rav. The pasuk says, V'yasav b'nei Yisrael, es ha-pasuk b'moyedeh. It says that they made the Pesach and it's appointed time, so they have to do the Pesach. So my Avdela. What are you going to do with that pasuk? The pasuk says that you have to do the Korban Pesach. So what are you going to do with that pasuk? Elamai, what does that must mean? It must tell you that therefore, since we have this pasuk, is they do it even though they're a minority, even though they're a miyut, Taisus explains, they still nevertheless will do it Pesach Rishon. So there's two ways of understanding this. The Likutei Halacha understands it in terms that in a chanami, that normally we would say that a tzibur does not do, a miyut does not do Pesach Rishon, but Tumah, it's only Roiv, and only the miyut gets pushed off only when the tzibur does Pesach Rishon, the yachid does Pesach Sheni. Here it's Exeris HaKosov. It says that you must do the Pesach. You must do the Korban Pesach. So if you must do the Korban Pesach, that means even if the Tmei and Meis are a miyut, you do it. The Salsa understands it a different way. He says, we therefore say we don't include the Zovin, they're not part of the Tzibur. And the Tzibur, therefore, is counted. When you count the Tzibur, you reckon only with the Tmei Meis, and the Memela, they're a Roiv. Therefore, you say that you must do it, therefore, and they do it by Pesach Rishon. Armelahu. Rav said to them, Zil, Amrle, go tell them, Ki avakula Zovin Mayav. So, well, what are you going to say? If all of the Tzibur is Zovian, there's no possibility. So you say, Elakim Z'Layavshar. You say what? The pasuk says you must do the Pesach only if it's possible. But if it's not possible, you don't. And in such a case, it's not possible. Itmar Hayurubin Tmei Mason, if the majority of Tmei Mason, Umiutin Zovian, and the Miyut were Zovian. Rav Huna Amar, he says, Ein Tashlum Pesach Batuma. He says, therefore, there's no Tashlumen for Pesach Batuma. The Rubim are Tmei Mason, they bring it Batuma, and that therefore the minority can't do the Pesach Sheni. Even if they're Torah, there's no Tashlumen. So if the Pesach comes betuma, over there we say that they're not able to do the Pesach Sheni, and the Zovin can't do it at all. He says there is a tashlumim for Pesach that comes to Tuma, and therefore, even if it was brought to Tuma, they could bring it on Pesach Sheni. The Zovin could bring it on Pesach Sheni. So what is it for over here? What is underlying this machlokes? Let us say that this is the machlokes that man da amar ain't tashlum Pesach b'tuma, the one that holds there's no tashlum for Pesach b'tuma, and the Zovin can't do Pesach Sheni because Savri holds Tuma dechuya b'tzibur. Tuma is only dechuya, only reluctantly is pushed off. And he holds Tuma hutra b'tzibur. Meaning, what's this for? What is the connection with this? So Tosfos explains it as follows: if we say Tuma hutra b'tzibur, that means the Tuma is hutra, it's heter, and therefore it's like they're not tamei. It's like the tmeim are tahir. If we say that Tuma is dechuya b'tzibur, they're still tamei, but nevertheless we push off the Tuma and we allow you to do b'tuma, but they're still tmeim. Now the pasuk says that that if a person is b'derech chayka, that if the person is tamei and he's b'derech chayka, so then he says ki tamei, he's tamei, he's b'derech chayka, he goes and does Pesach Sheni. It's mashma that he's tamei, but the tzibur is tohar. So only when the tzibur is tohar and he's tamei, then you do Pesach Sheni. So therefore, we say as follows: if you say Tuma hutra b'tzibur, the tzibur is tor, then the Zovin can do Pesach Sheni. But if you say Dechuya b'tzibur, they're not tohar, and therefore the Zovin can't do Pesach Sheni. So Amre loy, they say no. The Kuli Alma Tuma Dechuya b'tzibur. Everyone holds that Tuma is Dechuya b'tzibur. Obaha pligi. What's the machlokes? Mar Sova Tara Midcha. The other one holds that the Tara, that when it was done b'Tara, then you can be doich. Tuma loy mitcha. But if it's done b'Tuma, you can't be doich. And the other one holds the Marsavar afilu Tuma nami medachia. Another one holds that even as b'Tuma, you can also be doich, even as b'Tuma. So what's the pshat? So Tosfos explains is that the one holds that, like we mentioned, that only if it's b'Tara he can be doicha. Since Tuma is dechuya, the tzibur did not do b'tar, you cannot be doicha. The other one holds we don't darshan it that way. We say that we're not making the inference that ish kiyat tomei, that only if a person kiyat tomei, that only if he's tomei and the tzibur is tohar do you do Pesach Sheni. No, even if the tzibur is tomei, the yachid can do Pesach Sheni. The lima that we learn out from here is that ish kiyat tomei, that only an isha yachid is nitch the Pesach Sheni, but not a tzibur. A tzibur is not nitch the Pesach Sheni.